is we got to realize that, guess what, God? I wasn't even thought about by my parents when you gave your life. But you did it anyhow. Amen. Knowing what I was going to do. Knowing that I wasn't going to get it right. Knowing that I was going to stumble. Knowing that I was going to rebel against you. Knowing that I was going to try and get people to go away from you. He knew all that and still allowed me just by dying. Yeah. Let us look to the Lord. Oh, wise and wonderful Father, I just want to thank you for this opportunity, Father. I just thank you, Father, for granting me the opportunity, Father, to come and just stand before your people and tell them what thus says you. Father, because it's not that I had to do. I got to do this. You allowed me to do this. It's not something that I have to do, but you allowed me to do it. So I just want to thank you for that, Father, because you allowed me to do this. I'm getting to do something for you, Father, because you died for me, Father. So I just want to thank you for this opportunity. Father, now I just want to thank you for the people that you sent today, Father. Father, I want to thank you for allowing them to come out to hear your word today, Father. Father, you know exactly what it is that they need to hear, Father. I have no idea what it is they need to hear, but you know, Father. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to be the vessel that you use to deliver what you have for them today, Father. Father, now I just ask you to move Archer out of the way, Father. Just push me to the side, Father, and you take control of the service, Father. You allow your word to go forth, Father. You allow the right words to be said in the right places, and you allow the people to hear from you, Father. These and all of the things I come to you in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Before I take the text today, I want us to evaluate us. I want us to look at us, because sometimes we get caught up in the text, and we don't even look at us. We are so busy looking at the people in the text, we fail to look at who we are in the text, because we are the people in the text. We're living the life now. Those people lived the life then, but we're living the life now. So we are the people in the text. See, there's sometimes we want to question God about what he's doing in our lives. We want to understand why just this thing is happening, why that thing is happening. Why, God? Why me? Why couldn't it be somebody else? See, we were talking this morning in Sunday school, and the question came up about the clerk. The clerk probably said, why me, God? Why I got to be the one sitting in jail? Why couldn't it be somebody else? But it's because he died for us. Yeah. It's because he did what he did for us, yeah, that we ought to be willing to do what we got to do for him. Yeah. We got to be willing to go through whatever it is that we might have to go through so that somebody else can see. See, that's the thing. The thing is, you think you're going through it for you. You ain't always going through what you're going through for your sake. Some of the things you go through them because God wants somebody else to see what you go through. Because you're able to carry the burden. And that person might commit suicide because they can't go through what you can go through. So sometimes you got to be willing to say, yes, God, I'll do it. Just because I know it's going to help somebody else. See, the obligation isn't really for what you got to do to get in, because if you say you're a Christian, you're already in. So you ain't doing it to get in. You're doing it so somebody else can get in. You've already committed your life to Christ. So the burden that you're going through, the struggle that you're going through is just a weakness for somebody else to see that I've committed my life to God. And even though I go through this persecution, I do it for your sake. I do it because I love you as much as Christ loved me. I do what I do because I know that in the end, God will say to you the same thing he will say to me if you're obedient to what you hear. That's well done, my good and faithful servant. So the question is, when you want to know, God, why? Why did I do all this? Why did I get up and go to church every Sunday? Why did I have to go to Bible study every Tuesday? Why did I have to go to Sunday school every Sunday morning? Why did I do all that? Did I just do it for no reason at all? Why did I do it? You have to realize do it. Not so much that you confuse what God is trying to get you to do and you think one thing when it's really something else. You think that you're doing it for your sake. And God wants you to realize that you're doing it for somebody else's sake. You don't come to Sunday school every Sunday morning just so you can say, God, I came to Sunday school. You come to Sunday school every Sunday morning so you can hear what thus says the Lord, so you can go tell somebody else what thus says the Lord. So you don't have to ask the question, why do I do it day after day? You have to understand why you're doing it so you know why you're doing it. And when you realize that I'm coming Sunday after Sunday and Tuesday after Tuesday, I'm doing it for somebody else's sake, then you realize that you're being what God called you to be. Lover of all. Because when you're doing it for somebody else's sake, you're showing the love that you have for them. But when you're doing it just, it's all about me. Yeah, Ramon, I'm going to come preach for you because it's about me. You ask me, I'm going to come because it's about me. I'm going to get to be seen. People going to see me stand up. I'm going to preach. I'm going to be done something. I'm going to be made somebody feel good because I'm going to say something that they like. Well, the saddest thing is that's the problem with us. We want to come and make somebody feel good so that they can go out and tell somebody, you know, he said some good things, made me feel good. And then you ask them, what did he say? And they said, well, he said something about, well, I ain't quite sure what he said, but I know he made me feel good. And the problem with that is that's all you got is a feel good. You can't help nobody else. And the purpose of you coming is to do what? Go out and help somebody else. Amen. You got to be able to tell somebody else how good God is. And if I just come in here and make you feel good, you're going to leave here and you're going to be excited. Oh, boy, I was good today. I had a good service. What did they preach about? What did they talk about? Well, I can tell you where he came from. Somewhere in Matthew. But I didn't tell me where it came from. Somewhere in Matthew, there's a whole book of Matthew. I want to know where it came from. I want to know what made you feel so good. Because if it made you feel good, then I want to read it because I want to feel good. But see, you can't tell them that because you just heard the emotional part of it. You didn't hear the text. And you go and you tell them about the emotional part, and they don't feel good. They don't feel like you feel. You felt good because you felt accomplished. See, watch that. Watch this, because this is how it plays into us. You felt accomplished. You know why you felt accomplished and you felt good? Because I was sitting in the pew. So I felt good because I was sitting in the pew. That makes me feel good because I can go and tell somebody I was in church today. But they ought to feel the same way you feel because of what they hear from you. They ain't have to sit in the pew to feel good. But we ain't giving them that. We're giving them I felt good. I felt good. It was a good message. It made me feel good. But let's look at the text that will help you see exactly what I told you. Because I want you to apply this to you. And so by telling you what I just told you, you ought to be able to take the text now. And you ought to be, what you ought to be doing is you ought to be taking the text. And you ought to be looking at how that text really aligns with what you're supposed to be doing. See, we take the text and we want to see how it's going to make us feel good. But there's a job to do. God don't give us the text just to give us the text. He gives us the text because there's a job for us to do. We have a mission. Our mission is to reach those that are lost. Amen. How do we reach them? We got to have the Word of God. How do you get the Word of God? Thus says the man of God. He gives you a preacher, a teacher, so you can hear. And when you hear, guess what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to now be the teacher that somebody else can hear from. You passing it on. You're not just getting it and saying, oh, I got mine. You're giving it to somebody else. Let's look at what Matthew says about this. Matthew, the 11th chapter. I'm going to read 19 verses of this. And I'm going to read it quickly. You don't have to stand. Just understand that we're giving God all the honor and glory for the reading of this word. And it came to pass when Jesus had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now, when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto him, art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? Jesus answered and said unto them, go, and show John again those things which ye do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, and the dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. And as they departed, Jesus began to say unto the multitude concerning John, what went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that were soft clothed are in kings' houses. But what went ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet. For this is he of whom it is written, behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And for the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elijah, which was for to come. He that hath ear to hear, let him hear. But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the market, and calling to their fellows, and saying, we have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. For John came neither eat nor drink, and they say, he hath the devil. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, a man luckless, and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners, but wisdom is justified for her children. Matthew gives us a story. Matthew gives us a story, and Matthew put this story in perspective to our lives today. We know who John was. John was the forerunner before Jesus. John was Jesus' cousin, to be more precise. But here's John sitting in jail, wondering, wait a minute, the Messiah is here. He's here. I've been waiting for him to come because I've been told, and now I'm prophesying that he's going to come, and I'm the forerunner, but I'm sitting in jail. Now, I struggle with this because there was a question there that John asked. John sent the question to Jesus to ask him, is he who he said he is? Are you truly the Messiah? Now, I asked this question. If John is asking Jesus, is he the Messiah, is he questioning his Messiahship, or is he questioning his actions? See, the problem with us is we do the same thing. We don't realize sometimes when we ask the questions what the question really means. See, the question that John was asking wasn't really, are you the Messiah? Because John knew he was the Messiah. How do I know that? Because at the river, he told him, this is the one. So he knew he was the Messiah. But you know why he was confused? The same reason we're confused today. Because we want to see him cast judgment on the sinners right now. We want to see him take all of them and just get rid of them so we as Christians can live a happy life. We want him to just destroy the rest of them because they ain't no good. And that's what John was wondering. I'm sitting here in prison, and you're the Messiah. All you got to do is come here and wipe these folk out, and I wouldn't have to do this. But then, it would be for what reason? Would it be for the fact of the matter? His question, and this is what I'll put as a lid for this. Why did I do this? All for nothing? That's John's real question. Why have I went around and told these people that you're the Messiah? You have no power. You're doing nothing. I know you're the Messiah, but you are not doing anything. Why? Because I want you to do it. Not because you're ready to do it, not because you're following the will of your Father, but because I want you to go ahead and take care of these people. I want it done now. That's the type of generation we are. We are a right now generation. I want you to do it right now. I want you to take care of this right now. Sister Lawrence, you asked the question this morning, and here's an example of it. That clerk wants God to take care of the gauge right now. I want you to settle this issue right now. I want to say they can't get no license from me. I want you to make that happen right now because you're a God. We ain't got to worry about man-made laws. You're a God. You can stop it right now. And God said, but I told you in my scriptures that this was going to happen. That man was going to love man. So if I told you in my scriptures it's going to happen, why you want to stop it? See, that's what John was saying by asking the question. John was saying, hey, God, don't follow the whole process. Let's go ahead and make this happen right now. Let's judge everybody right now. Well, I'm so glad he didn't. Because if he judged him right then, you and I wouldn't have had the chance that we have today.
Amen.
Because if he had judged him right then, he would have never had to go to the cross.
That's right.
Because he would have took them all out.
Amen.
With the power and authority that he did have, and there wouldn't have been a need to go to the cross. Because there'd have been nobody that he needed to go to the cross for. But what he knew is that I got to let this thing play out. I got to let it go. And so when you look at the story, you go a little deeper into the story. Now, John asked a question. Now, there was something in this text that bothered me a little bit because it said that John sent out his disciples. It's coming to the church of today. There's so many preachers and pastors that got their own disciples. They got their own little deacon board. They got their own little cronies. And that's who they send out to tell their word to get people into the church. And if they're coming for that reason and they ain't coming for God, then they're coming for the wrong reason. Amen. And see, that's what happened in this story. If you listen, he said he sent out his disciples to ask Jesus a question. Not Jesus' disciples. John's disciples. These were just men that had been following John. They hadn't learned to follow Christ yet. They were still following John. How do we know this? Because they were there with John. And he had to send them back to where Jesus was. So we realize that the disciples that he sent out was his disciples. But look at what Jesus did. Jesus answered two questions with one little paragraph there. It's a lot of text, but he answered two questions. Because he answered the disciples to carry an answer back to John. He told the disciples, go tell them what the work that I'm doing. Go tell them what you see. Go tell John what you see. Who else can do what I can do? Nobody else can do this. So you just go tell them. But that was good. That was good. And some people would have took that and they would have been set well with it. But the problem that happens here is John was supposed to be the forerunner. If Jesus didn't do what he did next, I think there would have been some problems. See, what happened here is John sent his disciples to ask Jesus a question. So if I came in here and I asked Reverend Boone, I said, Reverend Boone, are you really the pastor here? What's going on? In front of all of y'all, somebody heard me ask that question. They said, well, don't he know him? He ought to know he's the pastor. Don't he know him? Don't he have a relationship with him already? He already know he's the pastor, don't he? But see, if Jesus didn't answer the question this way, this is what would have happened. The murmuring, all these people would have said, well, wait a minute. The reason we even behind Jesus or we following Jesus is because of what we heard from John. But now John is sending a message here in doubt. And Jesus said to them, John is still the one that I deem with the highest esteem. He's not asking. He had to prove to them that John ain't asking this question for the reason you think he asked the question. John is asking the question because I ain't done what John want me to do. He knows I'm the Messiah, so he's not a liar. disciples had left. The text said the disciples left. Jesus had already gave them the answer. They went started to walk back to go to tell John what Jesus said. But then he turned around and started talking to the multitude. He says, listen, John is the main guy. John was the forerunner. John did what I asked John to do. Why? Because he wanted the people to realize that you ain't done all of this for nothing. See, John asked the question, but you probably thinking it. That's what I said about us. We come to church Sunday after Sunday and we probably wonder, well, God, when am I going to get that new house? When I'm going to get that financial breakthrough? When I'm going to get those things that you promised us? And he said, I promise you life. And life more abundantly. And you have that. But you want more. Amen. You want something else. You already have life, but you want something else. You want the things of the world. You don't want to just take the life and go and tell somebody about the goodness of the life that I gave you. You want to be able to have that shiny new Cadillac so you can ride around and people can see you in it, and then they can think that you're somebody because you're in a new Cadillac. But there's a whole lot of folk in new Cadillac that ain't got nothing on the inside. Amen. So you don't want to get the new Cadillac so you can ride around a new Cadillac and try to uplift the Cadillac. See, listen to the story. Listen to the story. He said, what did you go out to the wilderness to look for? Did you go to look for a king? Or did you go look for a prophet? The king would have been in fancy dress, high attire, soft cloth. Somebody that you can look to and say, hey, he's an authority figure. But you didn't go looking for that. You went looking for a man in the wilderness in rough clothes, beat up, gone through some things, sacrificed himself so that you can see me and not him. Because guess what you see when you see the king? You see the king. You're looking specifically at the king, and you're bowing down to the king, and the king ain't got nothing to offer you except for the king, the Messiah. And he made it reference that he is the king. And he said, listen, listen. John was out in the wilderness, living a life, and they had stuff to say about him. And then I come living a different life, and they have something to say about me. And you are living yet a different life, and they're going to have something to say about you. But ultimately, the only thing that matters is that you get them to believe that I am the I am. And you and the ones you get to believe will make it into the kingdom. Amen. But if you can't show them that I am the I am, then just maybe you don't believe the I am. The I am. So it's my wish that you understand that you ain't doing this for nothing. But just in case, I want to make sure you really understand this thing. Let's flip the question. Let's change who's asking the question. And then let's see how you feel about it. See, John asked the question. He said, did I do all this for nothing? Are you not the one? Can you not take care of these people for me? What if Jesus was to say, did I do all this for nothing? Did I do all this for nothing? Did I come down here on this earth and take the form of human being for nothing? Did I come down here and walk this earth, get spit on, get beat, get whipped for nothing? Did I allow them to hang me on a cross, torture me for nothing? Did I come down here, go through what I go through, go inside this tomb and stay in this tomb, dark, cold tomb, for 3 days for nothing? Did I do all this for nothing? Because if I did all that for nothing, then I shouldn't have got up. I shouldn't have rose. But I rose for something. So John, yes, the question is that you are in prison. Yes, you are going through your torment. Yes, you are going through something. But you had to go through it before I went through what I went through. To be an example for those that are going to have to go through it after I go through what I go through. Yeah. See, there's a difference in the story. The story for John is Jesus hadn't went through all that he had to go through yet.
All right.
But for us, it's a whole different story. Yeah. We shouldn't be asking, am I coming for nothing? We shouldn't be asking, am I praying for nothing? We shouldn't be asking, am I living for nothing? We shouldn't be asking, am I walking to church if I have to for nothing? We shouldn't be asking if I have to give my last dime to try and help somebody else. Am I doing it for nothing? We shouldn't be asking that question because we know that we're doing it for a reason. And the reason is because Christ came, died, went down in the tomb, and came out with all power.
Amen.
And we're doing it for his sake. Amen. It ain't about you. Hallelujah. It ain't about us. The problem is that we want it to be about us. We want us to get some credit. We want us to get some recognition. Amen. And you don't need no recognition. The only thing you need is to know that if you live right and you do what he asked you to do, that you got a place in the kingdom.
Amen. Yes, sir.
And if you can't accept that, if you can't accept that you got a place in the kingdom to be enough, I would not ask you to do it, but I'll tell you to do what's right for you. If you think that it ain't worth doing what you're doing for your place in the kingdom, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Because when you get to the point that you're doing it and you still don't believe, here's the sad part to this, and I'm going to close with this. The sad part is you can do all that you're doing. You can come Sunday after Sunday. You can sing, you can shout, you can turn cartwheels. You can do anything that you want to do under the sun and think that you're going to make it into the heaven. But if you don't believe that the Son of God came down, died for your sake, that you may have right to the kingdom of heaven, then you are still going to be on the outside of the gate. So, why do all this? Ask yourself the question, am I doing all this for nothing? Because that will be the real answer that you'll get when you get to the kingdom. If you're doing it all for the wrong reason, and it's not about him, you're doing it all for nothing.